Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
We'll have comedy ahead in this episode of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We're going to start off with one of the last great comedy shows on radio, Stan Freberg, in the old Sunday night slot, previously occupied by Jack Benny. This episode is a very musical show and a do-it-yourselfer show. This episode originally broadcast, this would go back to September 15th, 1957, and that would be 66 years ago.
This is the 10th show of the series of a brand new radio series. From Hollywood, we present the Stan Freberg Show. With the music of Billy May. Plus the songs of Peggy Taylor with Dawes Butler, June Foray, Peter Lee to the Judd Conlon Rhythmaires. You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you on RADI. Good evening. Tonight, of course, all of us have just returned from a triumphant 6-day layoff. And it's great to be back. Before we went on the air tonight, we asked the studio audience what their pet gripe was, and we were amazed to find their complaints were virtually unanimous. Now let's meet a couple of people from the audience. Can I have your name here, sir?
Yeah, my name is George Hannigan.
Uh-huh. What do you do for a living, Mr. Hannigan?
I'm a truck driver. And that's why I said I'd love to get my hands on the guy who designed freeways.
Good. All right. Mr. Hannigan, fine. Now we have a lady driver here. May we have your name?
Yeah, Mrs. Edwin Hurst.
Hurst? Any relation to Randolph?
You mean the reindeer?
No, never mind. Now, what was your grouse again?
Oh, I hate freeways.
Splendid. Now, we also have two other people from the audience to make up our little discussion panel. And now the surprise. I'd like you all to meet Mr. Henry Cloverleaf, the inventor of the American freeway system. Mr. Cloverleaf. Here, wait a minute. What are you doing there? Don't hit him in the ribs like that. Don't hit that man. Hold it. Panel. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. What in the world? Panel, look what you've done. You've rendered our guest, Mr. Cloverleaf, unconscious. What a terrible thing. Fighting inside the studio.
Okay, we'll take him outside.
That's better. Market research shows that the do-it-yourself craze is fading a bit because, well, people are afraid they really can't do it themselves as advertised. To put these skeptics straight, June Foray and I will assemble before your very ears the Freberg Build-It-Yourself knock-down grand piano. Now, to show you how quickly and simply it can be done, our producer is going to time us. Are you ready in there? Okay. You ready, June?
Oh, sure, Stan, I'm ready. Ready to show our listeners how truly super simple the piano can be assembled.
Just answer yes or no, please.
Yeah.
Now, you read the instructions, and I'll put this little beauty together.
Okay.
All right?
All right. First, you take the parts out of the box.
All right, that makes sense. Okie doke. Everything's out. Now what?
Now you fasten legs A to body B.
All righty. Here we go. All right. Okay, that's three of them. Legs A are on body B. What's next?
Next, you take the long strip of ivory-covered wood C and saw it into 88 little hunks.
Check.
85, 86, 87, 88. Okie doke.
Now, you place key C in trough D in front of body B.
All right. Okay, what's next?
Unwrap package E containing black keys F.
All righty. Black keys F.
Place black keys F between white keys C.
There we are.
Oh, don't they look pretty? Black and white. Yes, ladies, you'll say, such a chic two-tone effect.
Wait a minute. Never mind, let's move right along now. How do I know if the black keys are in the right place?
It says here you'll find out when you start to play.
Yeah. What's the next move?
Unwind roll of piano wire G and string inside body B, starting at treble and preceding the bass.
All right. Wire out here. Let's string her up here. They're all strung up here. There we go.
Yeah. Now you tighten piano wire G.
Okay. Whoops. What does it say I should do when the wire busts?
Yeah. When wire G busts, tie a knot in it and proceed as previously instructed.
Okie doke, it's all tied up there. There we go.
Okay.
What's next?
Next, you take top H and fasten the body B.
Okay.
Next, raise top H, fasten stick I to side of body B.
Okay, stick I is in place.
Next, raise top H and rest it on stick I.
All right. Ow!
Caution. Be sure top H does not slip off stick I while hand J is underneath.
Gee, that hurt. Yeah. Well, that's it, I guess.
No, Stan. There's one more step. Assemble piano bench K.
Okay, just a second. Okay.
And place in front of assemble parts A, B, C, D, E, G, E, F, H, and I. Now, your Freberg grand piano is ready to be played by hands J.
Okay. There we go. What was our assembling time, please? Oh, that's too bad. Our producer dropped his hourglass.
Oh, come on, play it, Stan.
All right. Yes, friends, don't say you can't afford a grand piano until you've tried a Freberg Build-It-Yourself grand piano, which only sells for $29.95. Tonight only this special studio demonstrator model, only $9.98. As is, if you call the station right now.
Say, you didn't tell them about the other models, Stan.
Oh, yes, so I didn't. We have 3 models, the baby grand, the adult grand, and the teenager grand, which comes with ducktail keys, motorcycle boots on the legs, and an eagle on the lid. Call now, as our supply is limited.
Gee, Stan, I'm very sorry about what happened.
Why is that, Peggy?
Well, I'd have wanted to sing, but I can't very well with the piano all over the
floor. No, that's true.
Well, would you do me a favor?
Oh, certainly.
Well, will you put it back together?
Oh, surely. Just a minute. There we are.
Thank you, Stan.
That's quite all right. That was nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, Peggy Taylor singing Send for Me.
When you want a true lover, send for me. Send for me. You'll never want any other. Send for me. Send for me. I promise you I'll be true. Send for me. Send for me. Anytime, just tell me your problems and you'll find out, baby, I'll solve them if you're late one morning. Don't hurry if you got big trouble. Don't worry, just depend on your friend. Send for me, send for me. Morning, noon, and night, in the early bright Don't you fret, my pretty pet, I'm gonna treat you right. Don't you dare raise a hair. I'm gonna share your every care. Anywhere, oh yeah, send for me, I'll be there. Anything that upsets you, send for me, send for me. I'll be there to protect you. Wait and see, wait and see. Don't delay right away. Send for me, send for me, send for me, send for me. It's gonna be Tweedledee, yes sirree. You and me, faithfully, send for me.
From time to time on this program, we should like to present literary giants of our time. The next voice you will hear will be that of Stan Freberg, coming to you from the office of Albert T. Wong.
Good evening, Mr. Wong.
Good evening, Stan.
Oh, Mr. Wong, how's it feel to be our first literary giant?
Well, Stan, I'm not exactly a giant. I mean, I'm only 5'2".
No. See, giant is just an expression. I mean, you're a big man in the field of literature.
Oh, yes.
I didn't mean that.
Oh, yes.
You were literally actually a giant.
Yes.
Just
oh, yes.
You know.
Oh, yes.
Paraphrasing, as it were. Let's get down to cases here and let the folks in on what sort of thing. You understand, all right?
Oh, yes.
Good.
Oh, yes.
And let the folks in on what sort of things you write.
Well, Stan, I write the sayings on the little slips of paper you find inside Chinese fortune cookies.
And allow me to add that they have been some of the most memorable fortune cookies I've ever read. Just wonderful. Would you rattle off a few of the old favorites there, Albert? May I call you Albert?
Oh, I should be most offended if you did not. Well, you folks may remember this one. I wrote it back in 1938, and the whole country went around saying, pleasant prospects for the future are indicated. And then, thank you, and then I wrote, do not act upon the impulse of the moment.
Oh, right, I remember that so well.
And I'm sure you will all remember this fortune cookie message. It was the first one I ever had published and printed inside a cookie. A letter of great importance may reach you any day now.
Hold on. Wonderful memories. I remember breaking open a cookie and reading that several years ago, Albert.
And did a letter of great importance reach you?
Yes, I was drafted. I suppose there are other fortune cookie writers?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But in all modesty, I would like to quote a critic who writes for the Fuyang Tribune. He said, Wong is the Oscar Hammerstein III of fortune cookies. People all over America walk out of Chinese restaurants humming his messages.
They do indeed. Have you a few words of encouragement, perhaps for young aspiring fortune cookie writers who may be listening tonight?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Each year...
Yes?
Oh, yes. Each year, countless young hopefuls break their hearts trying to crack the inner golden circle of message writers. You've heard the saying, there's a broken heart for every fortune cookie writer on Maja Long Street.
No, I don't believe I've heard that one.
I wrote it.
And your word of encouragement is?
Keep writing. If you have to start out writing fortunes for weight machines, do it. I got my start writing, you weigh 198 pounds and will travel. As I like to say, oy vey. So, my advice, stay with it. Don't be discouraged. Every cloud has a silver lining. Say, Stan, that would make a good message.
Make a good message, yeah.
I just made that up, you know.
Real Edgar Guest.
Let me just jot that down here.
Okay, you want to use my back as a desk there?
Thank you.
All right. Well, while you're jotting it down there, Albert, I'll just stroll out into your factory here. Mr. Wong, you coming with me?
Oh, yes.
Could you explain how the message is put inside the cookie?
Oh, certainly, Stan. After I write the message and it is printed, these girls here lay it on the unfinished cookie, which at this point is flat, like a little pancake. And then almost instantly, the machine folds the cookie and bends it around the message.
Wonderful. I noticed you use girls with long, thin fingers.
Oh, yes. Reason. They have to snatch their hand out of the way fast.
Good reason. Well, what if they don't?
We have to call in a locksmith to get the cookie off their finger. We never lost the cookie yet.
How about fingers?
Well, quite a few
of those. Quite a few of those,
Yes.
yeah. Just one of the hazards of the sport, I guess. Well, before we sign off, there's something I've been dying to ask you, Mr.
Yes?
Wong.
Oh, yes.
You know the joke that's been making the rounds?
Oh, yes. You are referring to the joke where somebody supposedly opens a fortune cookie and found the message, "Help me, I am being held captive in a Chinese fortune cookie factory."
That's the one, yes.
Well, to tell the truth, Stan, I am just a little bit sick of that one. Everywhere I go, people pull it on me. I wish I had $1 for every time I've heard that.
You're a wealthy man, yeah. Well, it's only a joke.
Yes, a poor joke. A poor joke at that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, say, what is that sort of pounding noise there?
Oh, it's nothing. It's just someone working on the building, Stan. I don't know. It's a workman or something. Let's get back to my office, Stan, please.
All right. And thanks so much for being with us, Mr. Albert T. Wong.
Help! Help!
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard our vocal group, the Judd Conlon Rhythmaires, singing behind Peggy and behind me on many of my Capitol records. And tonight we think it'd be nice if they sang out front. Well, let's see. There's, 6 of them all together, and by name they are...
Judd Conlon, Clark Yoakum, Chuck Schroeder, Mac McLean,
Lulie Jean Norman, and Gloria Wood.
Florence Nightingale.
Enrico Caruso.
Hold it.
Lanny Ross.
All right, you guys. Everybody after Gloria Wood didn't count, folks. Here's the Judd Conlon Rhythmaires singing Just One of Those Things.
Just one of those things. Just one of those crazy flings. One of those bells that now and then rings. Just one of those things. It was just one of those nights. Just one of those fabulous flights.
A trip to the moon on gossamer wings.
Just one of those things. If we thought a bit of the end of it when we started painting the town,
we'd have been aware that our love affair was too hot not to cool down.
So goodbye, dear and amen. Here's hoping we meet now and then. It was great fun, but it was just one of those things.
Just one of those nights. Just one of those fabulous flights.
A trip to the moon on gossamer wings. Just one of those things. If we thought a bit of the end of it when we started painting the town, we'd have been aware that our love affair was too hot not to cool down. So goodbye, dear, and amen. Here's hoping we meet now and then. Great fun, but it was just one.
It's been swell.
Farewell.
What a song.
So long.
Lots of fun.
We're done.
Just one of those things.
Now for the third lecture by Dr. Herman Horn on the subject of hi-fi, which, as you know, is the reproduction of music and sound in high fidelity with a full range of frequencies.
They know that, you lunkhead.
Yes. Last time we presented the sound of Benny Goodman playing Danny Boy 20 feet underwater in a kelp bed. a life-size latex rubber Liberace being inflated, and many other fascinating things.
It was a wonderful sound, too. It was a
The
wonderful...
close of the lecture was unfortunate. The good professor's assistant, Strudelmeyer, scratched the needle right across the hi-fi record.
Unforgivable.
Of course, under the hi-fi oath, he was supposed to be boiled in turntable lubricating oil at once.
But I'm a good-natured fellow, so I told him I would wait until after tonight's lecture. Now, the first thing...
Pardon me, Doctor.
Who are you?
I'm your announcer.
Don't be ashamed of it. I once played tuba for Horace Height.
Well, I've been kicking around the idea of a little custom installation myself.
There is no such thing as a little custom installation.
Well, now,
Get
I
up through
only
your
meant
head.
that I...
Quiet! Quiet!
I-
Here's the equipment you must have. Must. 4 2,000-watt amplifiers and 10 separate preamps. A 21-joule turntable, a diamond stylus, a pearl Mesta, and a cotton Pickering arm.
What about the speaker?
The whole house becomes a speaker. You move into the garage.
I think we better forget it.
The entire house becomes a giant speaker. Now it's settled. It's settled.
No, it's not so. Besides, my wife doesn't like loud music.
Yeah, loud.
Yes.
I would expect that from a wife. We've got a special demonstration for people like your wife to prove that hi-fi can be soft. Soft and misty as the teardrops in a mother's eyes, as toward the chair her wayward son is slowly led. Nick Kenny, Mirror Syndicate, 1945. The old ones are the best.
Yes.
Okay, Strudelmeyer, roll in the crate, gently. Gently now. There we are.
Oh, pardon me. Is that fur on those wheels?
Naturally, there's nothing softer than a mink wheel. Now, if there is, I'd like to hear about it. All right, unpack, Strudelmeyer. Inside the crate, in a nest of flogged peach fuzz and eiderrup. That's twice as soft as eiderdown. Rests a 2,000-year-old Ming Dynasty porcelain temple bell. Traditionally, it is struck with the soft, fuzzy cottontail of a Ming rabbit. Only hi-fi could ring the delicate highs of the sound. Okay, Strood, let's hear it. No! Meathead. I said just with the tail, not with the whole lousy rabbit. Shape up, Strudelmeyer. You could be replaced by Quasimodo. This reminds me, before we come to the end of my lecture, I'll show you the difference between highs and lows. You have just heard the high vibrations when our friend here smashed the temple bell, for which he will be fed to the octopi at Marineland right after the show. Now for the low vibrations. Listen as Clumsy here plays a mating call on the Canadian moose horn. Go, Strood. Excellent. He has good jazz ideas.
Yes, but his lip isn't too good.
Well, yeah, I'm a man since he sat in with Chet Baker the other night, and I think that, what is that? Strudelmeyer, is that your moose? Well, get him out of here and stop blushing.
Why don't we just forget about me buying a hi-fi?
Be quiet. Be quiet. As you and your wife sit of an evening, shivering in the garage, listening to your house, These are the wonderful types of sounds you can play on your hi-fi. The sound, for example, of James Cagney removing his makeup. If we had time, he could remove the other 999 faces.
But what about music? Can I listen to music on my system?
What for? It's only good for checking to see if you have wow and flutter, or if you can still hear the turntable rumble.
Oh, I see.
That's all it's for, and nothing else.
Yes, I understand.
Only purpose. However, if you persist, let me show you how loud music can be on a real hi-fi system.
Well, that won't be necessary.
Yes, it will. First, I play an average record played through a cheap $5,000 home hi-fi system. See if you don't see how thin the orchestra sounds. Terrible. Now the very same record played through my own stereophantic, orthopedic, cinema, guadarama phonic sound system. Okay, Strudelmeyer?
Doctor, I really don't think the building can withstand the vibrations.
Stand back, Brady Cat. Now, if you aren't chicken, turn up your volume knobs all the way!
Tonight only, this special demonstrator studio, only $9.98. Well, that concludes a series of 3 lectures on hi-fi by Dr. Herman Horn. It also concludes Dr. Horn, to say nothing of Strudelmeyer. However, we shall carry on alone. Look to us in the future to bring you such goodies as the collapse of the Los Angeles Shrine Auditorium in hi-fi. That'll be a good one. A Child's Garden of Voodoo. And a stereophonic binaural recording of the fun-filled Charge of the Light Brigade with the original cast. As you may remember, we promised to bring you my recording of Shaboom tonight, but the mail has been rather heavy, begging us to please not do rock and roll, and their point is well taken. I mean, they want a lot of gibberish, you know. So if you want to hear Shaboom, write us, and we'll try to do it. But tonight we're doing something a little more along the ballad lines. Ladies and gentlemen, one of my favorites, and I hope it'll be a favorite of yours, Elvis Presley's Heartbreak Hotel.
Well, since my baby left me, well, I found a new place to dwell. Well, it's down at the end of Lonely Street, and it's Heartbreak Hotel. Well, I'll be so lonely, baby. I'll be so lonely, baby. I'll be so lonely. Could I have a little more echo on my voice? Although it's always crowded, we still can find some room. Broken-hearted lovers to cry their Jean, 3rd pair today. You could die. Enough, that's all. No, that's enough. The pains are coming back. I do more, but I'm afraid I'll be arrested. And before we sign off, are there any questions you folks in the audience have about Elvis? Yes, all right, that gentleman right there.
How come I can never understand what he's saying?
Good question. Because on his particular RCA Victor records, the dog has got his head caught in the speaker. Now, this lady right here in the yellow dress.
Yes. Well, how come Elvis always wiggles around like that when he sings?
Because as a boy, he had a loose bicycle seat. And time for one more question.
When is this program over?
Right now. Until next week, this is Stan Freberg saying thanks for listening. God bless you, and good night.
Show is produced in Hollywood by Pete Barnum and is written by Stan Freberg, Pete Barnum, and Dawes Butler. Featuring the music of Billy May, Judd Conlon for the Mares, and the songs of Peggy Taylor, with Dawes Butler, Peter Lees, and June Foray. Bud Sewell speaking.
September 15th, 1957, Stan Freberg here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll head to Wistful Vista in just a moment. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Fibber McGee and Molly, an episode from September 15th, 1954.
It's time for Fibber McGee and Molly. Sundays through Thursdays, NBC brings you Fibber McGee and Molly transcribed. The show is written by Phil Leslie and Ralph Goodman and directed by Max Hutto. We'll join Fibber and Molly in just a moment.
If you chose RCA Victor Television for your home, you had a good reason. You wanted America's finest television. So for America's finest television service, choose RCA Victor Factory Service, available only to owners of RCA Victor Television. RCA Service Company technicians are trained by RCA engineers. They use only RCA factory parts. Yes, they're exclusive specialists in giving you continuous top performance from your RCA Victor television. As an RCA owner, you're eligible for RCA factory service with a contract or on a pay-as-you-go basis. So whenever your RCA Victor television needs service or adjustment, call your local branch of RCA Service Company. You'll find it under television service in your classified directory. Branches in almost all TV areas.
Remember, the world's best names for quality. RCA and RCA Victor.
Hey, kids! Hey, where are you? I got something important to tell you.
Oh, hello, Mr. Oldtimer. I didn't hear you come in.
No, I didn't either. You didn't yell like you usually do.
Well, I couldn't, kids. Had too big of an order this time. Had to carry the sack of potatoes in my mouth. I left the stuff in the kitchen.
Good.
Reason I hurried, daughter, I got an important message for you.
Oh?
Yeah, you see... Oh, by the way, before I forget, I'm afraid I damaged the back screen door on the way in. Scratched it, sort of.
Oh, well, that's all right.
Sure, a little scratch won't hurt it.
Well, it ain't exactly a scratch, kids. It's more like a sort of a tear, kind of.
A tear?
Well, no. Come to think of it, you might say it was more like a hole. Yep, that's what you might say it was, a hole.
A hole? What size?
My size.
What?
You mean to say you ran through...
Well, you kids shouldn't hook that screen door on Wednesdays, Johnny. When you leave it unhooked the rest of the week, it gets too confusing.
Oh, you mean to say you walked right through that...
I was in a hurry to get this important news to you. I wanted to tell you what that man said to do before it was too late.
What man?
Oh, the feller who works for the water department. The foreman on that job up the street where they're fixing that busted water main. He's going around from door to door telling folks to fill up some pots and pans because they're going to turn off the water for the rest of the day.
Turn off the water? Goodness, when are they going to...
About a half hour, the man said. He wanted to give folks time enough to get prepared.
Oh, well, thank goodness. We'll have to put some aside for drinking and water for the dishes.
Yeah, and I'll fill up the bathtub, too. We can draw straws later to see which one takes a bath.
Okay. I'll go home and get my soap and towel in case it's me.
I was talking about me and Molly.
Oh...
Well, thanks a lot for warning us, Mr. Oldtimer. My goodness, being without water for the whole afternoon, that'd be awful.
Gee whiz, that wouldn't be any great hardship, Molly. Not to me, it wouldn't.
What do you mean?
Not to a guy that his ancestors crossed 1,000 miles of desert when all the water they had was in a little fat keg like me, it wouldn't.
I know, but just the same, let's start filling up
the... trouble with people today is they're too soft. Too much easy living.
Oh?
Why, when my ancestors crossed Death Valley, they didn't worry about a little thing like no water.
Dearie, let's not...
Onward they trudged. Onward. Heads down. Sand blowing into their grim, smiling faces. And lips dry. Throat parched. The merciless sun beating down on 'em day and night.
Day and night?
Yeah, Johnny, that's a new one on me. What kind of a sun beats on you at night?
A son who's thirsty and 6 years old and wants a drink of water. That's the kind of a sun that beats on you at night.
Oh.
The most merciless kind of a sun.
Oh,
you
come
ever...
on, McGee. Come on, let's stop this foolishness and fill up some pots with water.
Okay. Don't panic. You heard the old-timer. They're giving us half an hour. That's what the man said, right, old-timer?
That's what the man said, son. Of course, that was 40 minutes ago.
What?
I rushed in here because the time was nearly up, but you've been yakking about your ancestors.
Oh, my gosh. Quick, Molly. Turn on the faucet. Hurry.
I just did. Listen. Nothing.
Boy, oh boy, am I thirsty.
Back to Wistful Vista in a minute. Here is an important dramatized message from 5 New York doctors.
5 New York doctors prove you can break the laxative habit.
83% of the cases tested did it. So can you.
But how, doctor?
Stop taking whatever you now take. Instead, every night for 1 week, take 2 Cotter's Little Liver Pills. Second week, 1 each night. Third week, 1 every other night. Then nothing. Every day, drink plenty of liquids. Put yourself on schedule.
But how can Carter's help break the laxative habit, Doctor?
Because Carter's Little Liver Pills not only relieve irregularity, they also improve the flow of liver bile that's needed for natural regularity. When worry, overeating, overwork make you irregular temporarily, take Carter's temporarily and don't get the laxative habit. Get Carter's Little Liver Pills, only 43 cents. Break your laxative habit. Regain that wonderful feeling that goes with natural regularity.
This is murder. No water. Not a drop in the house.
Oh, McGee, relax. It's only been 10 minutes since they turned it off.
How do those inconsiderate, high-handed pipe misfitters expect us to live a whole afternoon with no water? Doggone it, I'm thirsty.
What about those pioneering ancestors of yours, the ones who crossed the desert? And all the water they had with them was a little fat keg like you.
Well...
They didn't let a thing like no water bother them. Onward they trudged. Sand blowing into their grim, smiling faces. Throats dry, lips parched.
Oh, cut it out, Molly. Gee whiz, I'm as dry as a Swiss on rye without you kneeling me.
I'm sorry, dearie, but if you're so thirsty, there's some root beer in the icebox.
Root beer will not do it. I'm thirsty for water. It's a way down deep inside kind of a thirsty that nothing but water will... Hey, I know where I can get some water, I bet. From Les Nelson next door.
Oh, I wouldn't bother them.
They probably got buckets full, like we'd have had if I'd have had time to fill some buckets full. You wait here and I'll be right back. I'll grab a kettle and trot over there and get some water. And thanks a lot for the water, Les. You're a real neighbor.
Well, I'm just glad I could help you out, Mr. McGee. I'll bet you can use a tall glass full right now.
Oh, it ain't for me that I'm taking the water. I come from hardy pioneer stock, like I told you. This water is for my dear little wife, Molly.
She is a fine woman.
I tell you, when I seen her sitting there in the living room, silently suffering, not saying a word, never complaining, just drying up from thirst, I couldn't stand it. It got me, right here. So I come over.
Well, I sure hope there's enough there to relieve her thirst. Here, let me carry one of those buckets over for you. You're kind of loaded down.
Oh, no. Oh, no, I'll be okay. Yeah, you just open your front door for me, will you? You sure you can spare this much water now? I'm not robbing you, for Molly's sake.
Oh, no. Sally and I'll get along just fine on what we got left. You know, when you told me about those pioneer ancestors of yours, how they walked across the desert with the sand blowing in their grim, smiling faces, their throats dry, lips parched, it kind of made me ashamed of myself.
I thought it would.
And I figure if they could do it with no water at all, Sally and I can sure get along this afternoon with a whole milk bottle full.
Ah, you're a fine neighbor, Les. You probably saved my little wife's life with this.
Say, hi there, Miss McGee. You're feeling better, huh?
Uh-oh.
Hello, Lester. What do you mean better? I just came over to see what McGee was doing because he's been gone so long.
Well, we better get home, Molly, with this water. Les, give me some water and come on, let's...
Watch your feet!
Whoops! Oh, my gosh, all the water. Gone.
All over the sidewalk.
Les, could I have a glass of water? Just, hey, Les, hey, wait a minute. Just give me a drink. Hey, Les, open up. Give me a drink of water. One little glass of water, Les.
Hey, stop it, for goodness sakes. Come on home.
Some neighbor won't give a man one little drink of water when I'm weak from thirst. So I says to Molly, I says, Wallace Wimple, I says, he's the guy to ask.
Well, thank you for thinking of me, Mr. McGee. Ask what?
Just a very simple request, Wimp, from one good friend to another. Give me a drink of water, will you?
Water? Wouldn't you rather have a nice cold glass of root beer?
Root beer won't quench my thirst, boy. When a man's as thirsty as I am, that sort of way down deep inside kind of thirsty, there's nothing that'll relieve it like a tall, cold glass of water. You got plenty?
Oh, loads. When Sweetie Face heard they were going to turn off the water, she had me fill all the buckets and kettles in the kitchen and all the containers.
Swell. Well, never mind the details, boy. Just get me a glass of water before I collapse on your front porch here.
Oh, I'd like to, Mr. McGee. I really would. But, well, she has it locked up.
Locked up? The water?
Yes. Sweetie Face feels very strongly about wasting water, so she has it all locked up in the kitchen, and she's wearing the key around her neck.
Oh, this is ridiculous. Where is your wife? I'll ask her myself if it's all right.
Oh, I'm afraid that's out of the question. She can't be disturbed now.
The heck she can't. Where is she?
Upstairs, soaking in the bathtub.
No, if this ain't the... Where can I get some water? Water! Neighbors, some friends I got. I gotta have water. If I don't get a drink of water...
Where you been, Mr. McGee? Your wife's been looking for you.
Him and his little put-away milk bottle full of water. Just because I spilled a couple of buckets...
They turned the water back on a few minutes ago.
Huh? They did? Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Hey, Molly. Hey, Molly.
I've been wondering when you were coming home, dearie. They just turned the water back on.
Well, it's about time.
Oh, and look what Mama's got. A great big pitcher of ice water.
Yeah.
You must be starving for a drink. Here, hold the glass. I'll pour you a slug.
Oh, thanks, kiddo. But I'm way too thirsty for water by now.
Huh?
Oh, I can have water anytime. What I'm going to get right now is a nice, cold bottle of root beer. Because when a guy's as thirsty as I am, that way deep down inside kind of thirsty, a cold slug of root beer...
Fibber and Molly will be right back. This is John Wald with a suggestion to cheer your busy day along. Let NBC Radio keep you entertained and informed with an exciting lineup of daytime favorites. For example, there's The Phrase That Pays every weekday morning. A fast and funny quiz show with Ted Brown as the man with the questions. And, you know, there's a big special feature about The Phrase That Pays that you should discover if you don't already know about it. It's this. You don't have to be in the studio audience to win prizes on The Phrase That Pays. No, sir. You, right there at home, can win some of the wonderful prizes Ted Brown gives away each morning. Why not listen tomorrow to The Phrase That Pays and find out how? It's easy and it's fun. Try it tomorrow and every weekday morning. And don't forget such other daytime favorites here on NBC as Strike It Rich, Second Chance, Welcome Travelers, and many more, all on NBC.
Have you seen this item in tonight's paper?
What's that?
The television people say it won't be long before they'll be getting shows all the way from Canada.
Oh, that's nothing. I passed the Bonton today, and they got china on the set they got in the window, and it wasn't even plugged in.
Oh, aren't you cute?
I wonder. Good night.
Good night, all.
Fibber McGee and Molly is an NBC Radio Network production transcribed, with Phil Thompson as the old-timer and Mr. Wimple and Robert Easton as Les. This is John Wald inviting you to sit in on the fun tomorrow when Mr. McGee comes to grips with a public library over a missing book. Be with us then.
September 15th, 1954, Fibber McGee and Molly on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Oh, we'll head out west to the Grand Canyon and see what's going on with Lum and Abner in just a moment. Thanks again to Ted at RadioMemories.com for this episode of Lum and Abner as they continue their trek toward Las Vegas. They've made it to the Grand Canyon in this episode from September 15th, 1948.
That's our ring. Time for Lum and Abner, brought to you by the makers of Alka-Seltzer. Friends, do you or some member of your family occasionally get one of those miserable headaches that ruin the evening or a day at work? If so, let me tell you something to keep in mind next time a headache comes along. Remember Alka-Seltzer for fast relief of headache pain. You'll find there's nothing quite like Alka-Seltzer for fast, efficient relief. Now, this isn't just talk, friends. There are some good reasons why Alka-Seltzer offers such fast headache relief. You see, Alka-Seltzer is completely dissolved before you take it. Therefore, its pain-relieving analgesic sodium acetylsalicylate is ready to go to work instantly. And, two, because of its effervescent base, yes, because of that famous fizz, that pain-relieving agent gets there fast, gives fast relief. So remember Alka-Seltzer for fast headache relief, and keep a big supply of Alka-Seltzer on hand at home and where you work as well. Remember, an extra package on the side keeps the family well supplied. All drugstores have Alka-Seltzer. And now let's see what's going on down in Pine Ridge. Well, Abner and his band of travelers got as far as Albuquerque, where they ran into Ben Withers, who had gone the wrong direction in trying to hitch a ride back to Pine Ridge, and who was selling Indian blankets to raise bus fare back home. As we look in on our friends today, we find them getting ready to leave Albuquerque early in the morning. Listen.
Cedric, watch where you're putting them suitcases.
Mom?
That's the front seat there, not the back seat. Ain't you awake yet?
Well, I ain't used to getting up this early in the morning, Mr. Abner.
Well, if we expect to get clean to Las Vegas today, we got to start this early, Cedric.
Yeah, we ought to be on the road right now. Where's Grandpap gone now?
No telling, no telling. More than likely seen some more souvenirs he wanted to buy.
Couldn't be that. There ain't no stores open yet. Too early.
Well, I certainly hope you fellas have an enjoyable trip to Las Vegas. It was pleasant running into you here in Albuquerque. Well, I hope you have a nice trip back to Pine Ridge, too, Ben.
Yeah, you be sure and get on that bus now. Don't miss it.
Don't worry, I won't.
And recollect to get on the one going east. Don't forget now, east. That's the direction you got to go to get back home, east.
I know that, Lum. I know which way is east.
Well, if you'd have noted a little better, you never would have wound up in Albuquerque.
Well, that was a slight error of some sort.
Well, don't make no more of them slight errors. There ain't no telling where you wind up next.
Hey, Grandpap, hurry up and get on over here. We got to take off.
I'm coming.
Oh,
Come on, Francis. Get a move on you.
Look at that Francis. We started this trip, I thought he was about as big as a dog could get, and I'll swear he's growed another 50 pounds.
Well, I don't wonder all the hamburgers he's ate so far. He's going to bankrupt you before we get to Arizona.
Well, I don't care so much about that. I just wished he wouldn't always insist on having onions with his hamburgers, though.
Get in the car, Francis, and settle down now.
And mustard every time. Well, I hope you fellas have an enjoyable trip. Be sure and send me a picture postcard when you get to Las Vegas. Yeah, we will, Ben.
Yeah, maybe you better send us one when you get back to Pine Ridge, Ben, so that we'll know you made it all right.
Oh, don't worry about me. An old traveler like me, I could find my way around this part of the country blindfolded.
Now, you must have been blindfolded to ever got here.
Fine. Is all the suitcases and hand satchels in now, Cedric?
Yes, Mom, I think so.
Hey, wait a minute. Did we pay the man at the auto court?
Yeah, don't you recollect? You paid him last night.
Oh, that's right.
He insisted on getting his money before he let us in.
Yeah, that's right. I recollect.
Well, come on. We might as well pile in.
Yeah, get in.
Move over, Grandpap. You ain't left enough room for me. I shoved over as far as I can.
Dog, as you air shoved over there about as far as you can go.
Well, what's the trouble here? We had enough room in the back seat yesterday. And it's all them pigeon-toed blankets Abner bought from Ben. I don't believe you can get in here at all, Lum.
Well, ain't room in the front seat neither, with me and Cedric and Francis.
Looks like you better get on the bus and go back to Pine Ridge with me, Lum.
Well, wait a minute. We ain't got no use for them blankets. You might as well just take 'em back, Ben.
No, I sold them to you, and I can't give you the money back. I have to use that to buy my bus ticket with.
Well, we ain't got room for 'em in there. Just take 'em and give 'em to somebody then. Or maybe you can make a fast sale at the bus depot. Sell 'em for $1 a piece or something like that.
But they're priced at $5.95. And remember, they're genuine Navajo Indian blankets.
Well, you figured out some way, Ben. We ain't got time to argue about it now. That's it, Cedric. Stack 'em right there on the sidewalk.
I couldn't make much profit at $1 a piece.
Well, anything you get from 'em now is a profit. This is the second time you sold 'em, you know.
Why?
Maybe you can sell 'em back to the feller you got 'em from in the first place, Ben.
He'd only give me 50 cents a piece for 'em.
Yeah, from the looks of the blankets, I'd say you better take it.
Yeah, well, here, Lum. Get in. There's room for you there now.
Yeah, all right.
Move over, Francis. Dad blame it anyway.
Careful how you speak to Francis. He's sensitive.
Yeah, that's all right, Francis. I've got room enough. All right, old boy.
Well, I hope you fellas have an enjoyable trip.
Yeah, same to you, Ben.
Don't get lost this time. Recollect now, you go east.
Don't worry about me. Drive carefully, Cedric. So long, Milford.
Yeah, take it easy, Ben.
Send me a picture postcard when you get to Las Vegas.
Stop the car, Cedric.
What's the matter now, Lum?
Well, Abner, there ain't no use in going on till we know where we're going, or where we're at, leastways.
Oh, me, what does the map say?
Well, I can't tell nothing from that no more. Far as I can figure out, we must have taken the wrong turn when we was coming off of that detour back there.
Well, why didn't you tell Cedric not to turn that way then? You're the one that's watching the map.
Well, all I know is that direction there is north.
North? The sun's going down in that direction. Looky there.
It is, ain't it?
Why, sure, the sun don't go down the north.
How'd the sun get around there? Maybe it's the altitudes. Things just might look different up here.
Oh, that ain't got nothing to do with it, Grandpa.
Anyway, I know that's north, sun or no sun. Looks to me like we're going in exactly the opposite direction we ought to be going in.
Well, now, a lot you know about it. You've been asleep half of the trip.
Talk about Ben Withers getting mixed up in these directions. You fellers is the worst I ever seen. I'll prove to you which way's north. Come on, Francis, get out of the car. We'll show him.
Now, what can Francis do about it?
He's a part pointer. He'll point right direct to the north. That dog knows directions like a pigeon-toed compass. He is smart. That dog's got more horse sense than a human.
He's big as a horse, I know that.
Come on, Francis. Come on, boy. Point your nose to the north. That's it, Francis. No, not that direction. Francis, over this way.
Leave him alone, Grandpap. He's got it right. You're wrong. See there?
Dumbest dog I ever owned. Get back in the car, you critter. No good hound.
Well, what do you think, Lum? Aren't we to go on or turn back to the detours or what?
I don't know. That detour's a good 100 miles back. I hate to lose all that ground. We're running so far behind schedule as it is.
Yeah, we keep on getting lost at every bend in the road. We never will get to Las Vegas.
Well, I know what'd clear the whole thing up.
What's that, Cedric?
My compass.
Doggies, have you got a compass, Cedric?
Yes, Mom. Now, sure wish I'd have bring it along, too.
Huh?
It's in the upper left-hand bureau drawer at home.
Oh, fat lot of good a compass does us sitting there in a bureau drawer.
Well, Papa said one time you needed a compass to find anything in my bureau drawer. It's the reason I leave it in there.
Well, what do you think, Columbus?
All right, don't be sarcastic, Abner.
Well, all right then, Lum. What do you think we ought to do?
Well, I think we ought to just stay right on this road and turn on the first road we come to going west. Now, we know Las Vegas is west of us, so if we'll go in that direction, we're bound to get there sooner or later.
Well, let's get going then. Let's get to someplace. Doggies, I don't want to get caught out in this wild country after dark. Grand Canyon.
I don't know how we got here, Abner, but there it is.
Well, I'll be dead blamed. The Grand Canyons. Now, there's something I've always wanted to see. Hey, Grandpap, come over here and see this.
I'm kind of tired, Abner.
Come on now, don't be so scared. You ain't gonna fall in it. Hurry up now before it gets too dark to see anything.
Well, all right, but don't pull me now. Don't take hold of me.
I ain't gonna touch it. Come on now, up a little closer. This might be the only chance you'll ever get to see the Grand Canyons. Go on. Look at it there.
Uh-huh.
What do you think of it?
Well, it's a fair ditch.
Fair ditch? Just look at that thing down there, Grandpap. Did you ever see such a hole in the ground all your life? Now, boy, there's a gully.
It's all right. Francis, don't get too close to the edge there.
Some nature's lovers you are.
Well, what do you want me to do? Jump up and clap my hands, throw my hat in the air just 'cause I'm looking at a ditch?
All right. Last trip I'll ever take.
All right, now, fellas, let's don't get to fussing. We're all awful wore out, and we've had a long, hard day, and everybody's nerves is kind of frazzled.
Fair ditch. Huh. Cedric, what do you think of the Grand Canyons? Did you hear me, Cedric?
Don't bother him, Abner. He's asleep.
Well, he's standing up.
Well, Cedric can fall asleep that way.
Oh.
Don't forget he's been driving ever since daybreak this morning.
Yeah.
We must have went a couple of 100 miles out of our way to get here.
At least.
We might not have done worse than old Ben Withers today.
Fine sightseeing trip this has turned out to be.
Well, Abner, we'll try to find a place to sleep here tonight, and we'll get up in the morning and take another look at the canyon. It'll look a lot better to us after we've had some rest. It's actually too dark to get a good look now, anyway.
Well, I could see it all right.
You reckon where we could get a cabin or something to sleep in tonight?
I don't know. Ain't got no ideas. Hey, you might ask that feller sitting on that bench in front of that little store there.
Or else I don't see him.
Right back of you there. See him sitting there?
Oh, yeah. Couldn't make him out in the dark.
I'll wake up Cedric and have him start hauling the valises and hand satchels out.
Beg your pardon, mister, but I wonder if you could tell us where we could get a cabin or a hotel room or something.
Well, now, I'm a stranger around here myself, but if you're looking for something to sleep in, I could sell you some genuine Navajo Indian blankets awful cheap.
Well, did blanket salesman Ben Withers get mixed up in his directions again? If he keeps on trying to get back to Pine Ridge, he's liable to beat Abner to Las Vegas. You know, friends, most of us enjoy eating a good meal, but sometimes we overdo it a little, and annoying acid indigestion can be the result. Now, when you eat not too wisely but too well, and you get uncomfortable acid indigestion, what you want is relief, and you want it in a hurry. So be wise, alkalize with Alka-Seltzer. Keep Alka-Seltzer always on hand. Then, when acid indigestion threatens to spoil your work or good times, Alka-Seltzer is ready and waiting to bring you fast, effective relief. Alka-Seltzer can easily and quickly bring comforting relief from the upset, jittery discomfort of acid indigestion. It acts swiftly to neutralize and reduce gastric hyperacidity, and so bring you the relief you want in a hurry. When you go to your drugstore for Alka-Seltzer, remember to buy 2 packages instead of 1. Then you'll be sure to have it on hand when you need it for relief of acid indigestion. Remember, Alka-Seltzer means, without question, quick relief from acid indigestion.
Don't take chances on getting all the essential vitamins you need from the food you eat. Remember this. Government surveys show that the meals of 3 out of 4 persons are short on vitamins. Don't take chances. Instead, take one-a-day brand multiple vitamins. Lack of vitamins in your food can cause you to feel under par and run down. Don't take chances. Instead, take one-a-day brand multiple vitamins. 60 capsules, 2 months supply, only $2 at any drugstore. Potency guaranteed by Miles Laboratories. Lack of vitamins in your food can keep you from feeling your best and looking your best. You can't afford to take chances. Take one-a-day brand multiple vitamin capsules.
Listen every day, Monday through Friday at this time for Lum and Abner down in Pine Ridge, brought to you by the makers of Alka-Seltzer. Now, listen to it fizz. That's Alka-Seltzer's way of wishing you real relief from the miserable discomfort of a nagging headache. Ask your druggist for Alka-Seltzer now if you have a headache, and see how much better it can make you feel. Gene Baker speaking. CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
By and large, all the voices you heard on Lum and Abner were portrayed by Chester Locke, who did Lum, and Grandpappy Spears, and you had Norris Goff, who played Abner. And the only other voice that you heard, and you're hearing it in these episodes, is Ben Withers, who was played by actor Clarence Hartzell. So a little bit of information. You got 3 people doing the voices, and yet they sound like a ton of different people. Lum and Abner from September 15th, 1948, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Our webpage, classicradio.stream. Visit me there, and you can buy me a coffee if you're so inclined. We appreciate the support. And also, if you visit mypillow.com, pick up something for someone going back to school or anytime, use my promo code Wyatt, W-Y-A-T-T. Have yourself a great day. I'm Wyatt Cox. Thanks for joining us here for Classic Radio Theater.